WHO.
11:35 on a Big Show clock. Bob Quinn of the Big Show today, and we are at the Great Iowa State Fair, T-minus 1 day. Yeah, fair opens tomorrow. Rain has stopped at the fairgrounds, so now we have about 20 hours to get everything in shape to open back up for all the people coming in tomorrow at the Great Iowa State Fair. Gates open bright and early. And we're going to talk to Dwayne coming up and catch up on the events of the day, of course. But right now on the telephone line with us is Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions. And, Brian, we were texting back and forth this morning. You're in southern part of Missouri, and you were asking if it was raining up here. Yeah, we picked up probably, I would say a short inch here at the fairgrounds. I mean, it rained. It hasn't been any of those torrential downpours we've had, although I have heard some rain gauge reports of almost 2 inches of rain in sections of Iowa moving across, and it is still moving across. I mean, we're still overcast here at the fairgrounds, but the rain has stopped here in central Iowa and is moving into eastern Iowa, and it's pretty much been on a path coming all across the state throughout the morning. You're in sections of Missouri. Are you seeing anything there?
No, we're pretty dry here actually, and it's really warming up in the plains again. We're in the mid 90s and probably will be all through the weekend into early part of next week. So rain's not down this far in the country. Certainly could use some for double crop soybeans. The corn's pretty much made. It's all tasseled out a long time ago and it has a nice ear. But any beans certainly could use some rain. Double crop soybeans especially could use some rain because they have not had a whole lot and didn't take much advantage of that rain that came in May and June. So, we definitely could use some down here. I was talking with some clients earlier this morning. It sounded like Sioux City had 3/4 of an inch, and the Storm Lake, Iowa area had over 2 inches of rain early this morning. So there's abundant rainfall across a good portion of the upper Midwest. And looks like through the week and into early part of next week, we're going to see more rainfall. So it looks like a really good finish to the growing season for corn and soybeans. And markets are reflecting that as we breached the $4 level in December corn, fresh contract lows, and now we're trading right around $9.80 in November soybeans. And next really area of support for those beans is $9.71.
Now, let's talk a little bit about size of crop. You mentioned that we have had very good growing conditions, and yes, we have. And you're mentioning we're putting the finishing touches on here. USDA comes out, I believe, next week with a look at crop size. We're also going to get some crop tours going across the Midwest. The trend line yield for corn we've been kicking around is 181. We heard StoneX came out with, I believe, 188 plus yesterday. What numbers are you trading on?
To follow up on your comments about StoneX, that's a huge number, and it really kind of caught the trade off guard. The markets actually gapped lower after their yield estimates come out. And then yesterday, Informa, well, it's called S&P Global now. It's the old Informa group, and if you want to go even back into the 90s, it's the old Sparks group out of Memphis. They came at this week at 186. So those are big numbers, much larger than what the USDA has, and StoneX has been below the USDA number in the month of August 6 times, been above it 4 different times. So kind of hit or miss as far as their numbers go. We're in that 183.7 range. That's the numbers we submitted to the news wires. They're compiling their estimates of the trade guesses ahead of the report next Tuesday. So I think the USDA really justified in bumping corn yields up. I think they probably even bumped soybean yields. We're at that one. We're at 53.7 for soybean yields. That's an increase from last month. So I think they were at 52.5.
I think that we've seen pretty much standard bushel added to soybeans. Again, USDA numbers are coming up. So what are you thinking about as far as marketing? What are you looking at going into harvest?
Yeah, you're just not running out of opportunities for marketing in here. If you're sitting and waiting for a market to rally, you could be just sitting looking at harvest lows in here, and then and then trying to time harvest lows and maybe catch a post-harvest type rally. And they may be hard to come by because of this big crop that we have. The best thing for producers marketing-wise, I think, is that if you have this crop, if you have your home storage, it looks like you're going to be able to sell some really big carry in the market. And that's what happened with the wheat producers this summer. There was a 50-cent plus carry to sell into, and hopefully they can take advantage of that. So you look at December corn at $3.98, you go out to July, there's a 36-cent carry that could increase from 36, maybe close to 45 or 50 cents by the time we get into the combines and harvest rolling. If we have this big crop, they're going to put a lot of carry in the market, a lot of premium out there as an incentive to store the crop and keep it away from harvest, because we'll have pipelines will be full. We've heard producers down in Louisiana, Texas harvesting corn up until this last rain showers, but they were harvesting really good yields, some 200 bushel corn on 110, 120 insurance type guarantees. So some big yield numbers starting to hit this market, and I'm afraid we are going to have a tough time rallying at all or sustaining any type of rallies here until we get through harvest.
Well, Brian, we're going to be watching those numbers close, just like you are as well. We're going to put you back with us here in about an hour and 10 minutes because I want to talk a little bit more marketing strategy. I also want to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the cattle market right now. And we had a report out yesterday that a couple of outfits have said that heifer retention has started. So we're going to talk about that coming up with Brian Hoops. Hey, Brian, in the meantime, folks want to find out more about markets with you. How can they do so?
Yeah, you can call me directly, 417-501-5132. You can also go online, find a list of our offices at MidwestMarketSolutions.com.
Food, fuel, and fun. We speak farm. This is The Big Show.
12:55 at a big show clock. Bob Quinn of The Big Show today from the Great Iowa State Fair. And we are not wrapping up our coverage. We are kicking off our coverage of the Great Iowa State Fair. Doors open for everyone tomorrow morning. The livestock shows are going on right now. I'll be throwing some breakfast out with a lot of fairgoers starting at 6:30 tomorrow morning. We're going to be talking to the North Polk FFA kids of the Avenue of Breeds. We got a lot of things that we're excited about for the fair. We need to talk right now with Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions. We close our market segment of the Big Show out today. Brian, I asked you a little bit ago about the cattle market, and we have been enjoying a very strong cattle market. It is still strong. What's your view on cattle, and has the heifer retention started yet?
Hey, those are some good questions. And cattle outlook here has been bullish, continues to be bullish. It's all cash driven. Now the futures market has done a great job of narrowing that spread. That it was discount to the cash markets for a long time, especially some of those deferred contracts. We were looking at $20, $22 at one point, October discount to the current cash. Well, we're trading $235, $236 last week. August is right at $236, right on par with the cash. October is only about $5 to $6 discount now to that cash. So markets have done a better job. And then once we can get to par or even above the cash, then it becomes time where it becomes more of a seller's market, and that may actually start to put a little top into the marketplace. But until that happens, I think we're still going to try and push higher. It looks like cutouts moving higher here. Packer margins being helped by that improvement in the cutout values should give us higher cash trade. And what we're seeing as far as southern bids, 238 to 240 this week, and probably going to see that cash trade up in that 238, 239 range. Now, as far as rebuilding the herd inventory, if you look at heifers as a percentage of our total slaughter, it's still increasing. And that means there's no evidence that heifers are being retained yet. When we have heifer retention, we won't see them in the slaughter pace, and right now we still are. So far, anyway, we're not rebuilding that herd inventory anytime soon. There's been pretty good rains this spring and this summer throughout the plains, And we may actually have a situation unlike last several years where there's more forage than there is cattle to graze on it right at this time.
Hey, got about a minute left with you, Brian. I want to get back into this grain soybean market. What are you looking for over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think we're going to struggle here. As long as this weather looks very wet and no long-lasting hot conditions, I think we continue to struggle, continue to grind lower. No evidence of any type of a bottom yet. No indications from the spread market that we're trying to find any sort of a bottom. Last week we had a real strong week of private export sales, big weekly exports, strong EIA report, and yet corn closed 8 cents lower despite all that positive news because of the good growing conditions. And we're just going, I think, to continue to find rallies being sold and weakness throughout the next couple of weeks.
What do you expect to see coming out of the USDA here next week?
Well, I do think they raised both corn and soybean yields. Question will be is how much. I don't think they go as aggressive as some of the other private estimates, but a 1 to 2 bushel increase in corn yields certainly would not be surprising.